Hi, today my topic is business ethics and corporate social responsibility for business success and growth. The concepts of ethical behavior and corporate social responsibility have become to the fore in recent years in both developed and developing countries as a result of growing sense of corporate wrongdoing. These two concepts can bring significant benefits to a business. The idea that business enterprises have some responsibility to society beyond that of making profits for shareholders has been around for countries. The paper addresses the concepts of business managers. It came out that business ethics and social responsibility are very important for employee, customer, and community relatives. Not only that, but also they perceives that better public image, reputation, greater customer loyalty, strong and healthier community relations can ensure to the benefit of corporation that are socially responsible, and implications of the finding are finally drawn. So ethical behavior and corporate social responsibility can bring significant benefits to a business. The idea that business enterprises have some responsibility to society beyond that of making profit for shareholders have been around for centuries. This partly accounts for the reasons why the concept of corporate social responsibility has continued to grow in importance of significant. So one of the core belief is that business organizations have a social and ethical responsibility as well as the economic missions of creating value for shareholders, for owners of business, whereas the economic responsibilities of a business are to produce good goods and services that society needs and wants at a price that can perpetuate the continuing existence of the business and also satisfy its obligations to investors. So, ethical responsibilities are those behaviors or activities expected of businesses by society and other stakeholders such as employees. So, the unethical behavior or inability to demonstrate corporate social responsibility can damage a firm's reputation and make it less appealing to relevant stakeholders. The concepts of business ethics and social responsibility are often used interchangeably, although each has a distinct meaning. So, whereas business ethics includes the moral principles and standards that guide behaviors in the world of business, corporate social responsibility (CSR) is an integrated management concept which establishes responsibilities behavior within a company, its objectives, values, and competencies, and the interest of stakeholders. Companies that consistently demonstrate ethical behavior and social responsibility generate better result. So, what is business ethics? Business are code of value and principles that govern the action of a person or a group of people regarding what is right versus what is wrong. So, therefore, ethics sets standard as to what is good or bad in organizational conduct and decisions making. So, it deals with internal value that are a part of corporate culture and shapes decisions concerning social responsibility, which respects to the external environment. The terms ethics and values are not interchangeably. Whereas ethics is concerned with how a moral person should behave, value are the inner judgments and that determine how a person actually behaves. Values concerns ethics when they pretend to believe about what is right, what is wrong. In the business settings, being ethical means applying principles of honesty and fairness to relationships with co-workers and customers. Business or corporate ethics is a form of applied ethics or professional ethics that examines ethical principles and moral or ethical problems that arises in a business environment. So it is an umbrella terms that cover all ethics related issues that come up in the context of doing business. Business ethics is defined as the rules, standard codes, or principles that provide guidance for morally appropriate behavior in managerial decisions relating to the operations of the corporations and business relationship with the society. It applies to all aspects of business conduct and is relevant to the conduct of individuals and the entire organizations. Furthermore, business ethics is the behavior that is a business adherence to in its daily dealing with. The growth of business organizations relies on its sound ethical conduct, code of conduct set to guide both the management and employees in its daily activities. The logic supporting ethics as a good practice is that ethics context will create the power and proper climate which will aid the drive the development of ethical human resources practices, and the result is a shared value system that channels, shapes, and directs behavior at work. The advantages of ethical behavior in business including the following: build customer loyalty. A loyal customer base is one of the key to long range business success. If consumers or customers believe they have been treated unfairly, such as being overcharged, they will not be repeat customers. Also, a company's reputations for ethical behavior can help it create a model, a more positive image in the marketplace, which can bring new customers through word of mouth referrals. So, conversely, a reputation for unethical dealings hurts the company's chances to obtain new customers. Dissatisfied customers can quickly decimate information about their negative experience with the company. So retain good employees. Talented individuals at all level of our organizations want to be compensated fairly for work and dedications. Companies who are fairly and open in their dealing with employees have a better chance of retaining the most talented people. Positive work environment. Employees have a responsibility to the ethicals. They must be honest about their capabilities and experience. Ethically, employees are perceived as team players rather than an individuals. They develop positive relationships with co-workers. Their supervisors trust them with confidential informations. Avoid legal problems. So it can be tempting for a company's management to cut corners in pursuit of profit, such as not fully complying with environmental regulations or labor laws, ignoring workers' satisfy hazards, or using substandard materials in their products. The penalties, if caught, can be charged, including legal fees and fines or sanctions by governmental agencies. The resulting negative publicity can cause long range damage to the company's reputations that can even be more costly than the legal fees or fines. Three level of ethical standard. There are three levels of ethical standards, that is the law of policies and procedures, the moral standards of employees, the law which defines of for society as a long whose actions that are permissible and those that are not. The law merely establishes the minimum standard of behavior. At the same time, actions that are legal may not be ethical, however, or may not be ethical. So, therefore, simply obeying the law is insufficient as a guide for ethical behavior, organizational policies, and procedure. which serve as specific guidelines for people or employees as they make daily decisions. The moral stance that employees take when they encounter a situations that is not governed by law or organized policies and procedures. A company's cultures can serve to either support or undermine its employees' concept of what continues ethical behavior. My next point is establishing an ethical framework. The ethic of a business depends on the company's cultures or moral behavior. The decisions to do activities ethically is an example of moral behavior. All corporations have to decide what to do and how to do it in order to align their behavior with their ethical values. And organizations that places ethical at the center of all that it does has an ethical framework. So the cope successfully with with many many potential framework international monetary fund. So to cope successfully with many ethical decisions they face, corporates, companies, or entrepreneurs must develop must entrepreneurs entrepreneurs must develop to work workable ethical framework to guideline themselves. And organizations such as a framework ensures that ethical concerns are not dismissed and tangible, distracting, or consensual. So developing an ethical framework can involve a four-step process. So step 1, recognize the ethical dimensions involved in the dilemma or decisions. Before making formed ethical decisions, it is important to recognize that any ethical situations exist. These enable the definitions of the specific ethical issues involved. To have a complete view of decisions concerning ethics and to avoid ethical queries, it is important to consider the ethical forces at work in any situations, that is honesty, fairness, request or respect for the community, concerns for the environment and trust. So identify the key stakeholders involved and determine how to decisions will affect them. The business can influence and be influenced by a multitude of stakeholders, employees, customers, community needs. The demands of these stakeholders may conflict with one another, thus putting a business in the positions of having to choose which groups or to satisfy or not. Before making a decisions, manager must sort out the conflicting interests of various stakeholders by determining which one have important stakes in the situations. Step 3, generate alternative choice and distinguish between ethical and unethical response. So when generating alternative course of actions and evaluating the consequences of each one, asking and answering questions and ensuring a balance between the choose can ensure that everyone involved is aware of the ethical dimensions of the issue. Step 4, which the best or ethical responsible response and implement it. At this point, there likely will be several ethical choices from which managers can pick. Comparing these choices with the ideal ethical outcomes may help in making the final decisions. The final choice must be consistent with the company's goals, culture, and value systems, as well as those of the individual decision makers. Although an ethical behavior may not be profitable all the time, and ethical behavior frequently generates substantial losses, especially on a long term. Therefore, it is consequences and the timing or horizons to which they report on the long term. They represent considerable cost. These, whereas business ethics focuses on the role and responsibilities of managers and employees as business agents. Social responsibility, on the other hand, is more focused on the corporations and organizations and its obligations and behavior to other stakeholders in the larger social system. So the company's social responsibility, that is CSR. What is CSR? Now we discuss about this. Companies or corporations are facing increasing demand that they look beyond their own interest of prioritizing those of the societies in which they corporate. The notion that business enterprises have responsibilities to society beyond that of making profits for stakeholders has been around for centuries. This is become responsibility of for aspects of those operations. It is no longer acceptable for a firm or corporations to experience economic prosperity in isolations from the stakeholders within its immediate as well as the wider environment. Accordingly, the quality of relationships that an organization has with its employees and other key stakeholders. So, customers, investors, suppliers, public and governmental official activities and communities is crucial to its success. So, corporate social responsibility (CSR) can be understood as an integrative management concept which establishes responsibilities behavior within a company, its objectives, values, and business competencies, and the interest of stakeholders. It refers to a business system that enables the production and distributions of wealth for the betterment of stakeholders through the implementation of integration of the ethical systems and sustainable management practices. So, furthermore, CSR refers to the responsibility of enterprise for the impacts on society and the consequences for the integrations of social, environmental, ethical, human rights, and as well as consumer concerns into business corporations and core strategy in close collaborations with stakeholder. So now we discuss about the CSR has both economic and legal components responsibilities for the firm. It is important to perform in a manner consistent with maximizing earning per share. It is important to be committed to being as profitable as possible. It is important to maintain a strong competitive positions. It is important to maintain a high level of operation efficiency, and it is important that is a successful firm to define as one of its consistently profitable. It is important to perform in a manner consistent with expectations of government and law. It is important to comply with various federal, state, and local regulations. It is important to be law-abiding corporate citizens. It is important that is successful firms be defined as one that fulfills its legal obligations. That it is important to provide goods and services that at least meet minimal legal requirements. So, thanks for this video, for watching my videos, and my humble request is, if you like to watch my video, please share, subscribe, comments my MBA channel. Thanks a lot for watching my videos, and thanks for your time.